Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The sun dipped low over the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the alien landscape of J'Atoll. Towering, luminescent flora illuminated the settlement of Alicia, a makeshift human colony that had sprouted amidst the remnants of an ancient civilization. Jagged stone structures, remnants of long-buried secrets, jutted from the ground, their surfaces covered in vibrant alien moss. The air hummed with the energy of exotic life forms, a constant reminder that humanity was still the newcomer in this varied environment. Jack Foster stood at the edge of the settlement, hands deep in his pockets, watching the workers hustle by. He was a mechanic, one of the few who knew how to keep the human-built machinery running smoothly in a land where technology often faltered against nature's whims. Despite his rugged appearance, with tousled dark hair and the grease-stained coveralls that clung to him like a second skin, he had a tender heart. He never hesitated to lend a hand to fellow settlers, always seeking to bridge the gap between humans and the strange new world around them. While the settlement buzzed with activity, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of something amiss. Tensions were high between the humans and the native alien factions, deep-seated rivalries simmering just below the surface. There had been murmurs of confrontation, whispers of old wounds reopening, and the chilling sound of impending conflict felt palpable in the air like a thunderstorm on the verge of breaking. It was this unease that nudged Jack to wander beyond the confines of Alicia. His heart yearned for adventure, for understanding, and though the warning of fellow settlers echoed in his ears, he found himself making his way deeper into the verdant wilderness that surrounded the colony. After a short trek, Jack stumbled upon a sight that froze him in place. A young alien girl stood barefoot in a small dwelling hidden among luminescent vines, set to the rhythm of the whispering winds. Her skin shimmered subtly, a beautiful mix of colors dancing like the soft lights that adorned the landscape, while her wide, expressive eyes mirrored a deep fear. She was clad in simple fabric that seemed to flow naturally with her surroundings, a stark contrast to the hardened world of humans. "Hey there," Jack called out softly, taking a cautious step closer. The girl whirled at the sound of his voice, her large eyes widening in shock. Jack recognized the unease in her stance, the way her shoulders tensed, how her hands instinctively clenched. In that moment, he felt a deep yearning to calm her fears. She was a daughter of J'Atoll, an alien from one of the rival factions that had long regarded humans as invaders. Yet there she stood, vulnerable and afraid. Jack's heart twisted as he noticed she was barefoot, delicate feet untouched by the alien earth. He approached slowly, feeling a strange pull toward her. "You're lost." It wasn't a question. It was an understanding. Her vivid eyes narrowed as she assessed him, suspicion hanging between them like a thread. He dropped to one knee, showing her he meant no harm. "I'm Jack. I won't hurt you." The girl didn't respond. Instead, she took an instinctive step back, her luminescent skin shimmering under the fading sunlight. In a moment of tenderness, he pulled off his worn boots and extended them towards her. "Here, take my shoes. You need them more than I do." The gesture hung in the air as time seemed to slow. Her eyes flickered between his offering and his face, the uncertainty tangible. He watched as she instinctively moved closer, drawn by his warmth and earnestness. Slowly, she accepted the boots, a flicker of gratitude sparking in her gaze. "I'll help you find your way back," Jack promised, feeling a surge of protective instinct. He didn't yet know the depths of the connection that was forming, nor the complexities of the world that lay ahead of them. But in that quiet glade, with the remnants of ancient history around them, Jack and Nara were destined to clash with fate, as intertwined as their very lives would soon become. As night unfurled its blanket across J'Atoll, the sporadic sounds of the alien night came alive, the air filled with a symphony of chirps and hums, mingling with the rustle of dense foliage. Jack and Nara set out from her dwelling, traversing the thick underbrush that twinkled with bioluminescent organisms, lighting their path as if leading them into a dream. Jack walked beside her, occasionally glancing at Nara, while she wore his shoes, a little too big for her delicate feet. His heart warmed at the sight. He was acutely aware of how raw and exposed she seemed, a creature of grace navigating an alien world amongst those who saw her kind as a threat. "Where are we going?" she asked in halting English, her voice like a silken thread woven through the night. "Back to Alicia, my settlement. It's safer there, at least for now," Jack replied, his tone firm yet gentle. He could feel her tension as they passed under the sprawling branches of luminescent trees, where leaves whispered secrets in the moonlight. Nara hesitated, clearly wrestling with the weight of their differences and her instinctive wariness of his kind, but she had no choice. Every instinct in Jack urged him to protect her. The fragile bond forming between them was charged with essence, an exchange that transcended mere words. As they approached the fringes of Alicia, muted voices and the hum of machinery filled the air. Settlers bustled about, unaware of the outsider among them. "Keep close to me," he urged her, sensing her apprehension. Once they stepped inside the settlement, however, the atmosphere shifted. The initial curiosity of the settlers turned into wariness as they noticed Nara's presence. Jack felt eyes piercing through him from all directions. "Jack," a voice called out. It was Maya, his close friend and fellow mechanic. Her brow furrowed as she approached, halting when she spotted Nara. "What's happening? Who is she?" Jack's heart raced. He stepped forward, his body instinctively placing itself between Nara and the onlookers. "This is Nara. She needs our help. I gave her my shoes when I found her." Maya's eyes darted between him and Nara, concern replaced by disbelief. "You brought an alien into our settlement? After everything?" "She's not a threat," Jack insisted, anger bubbling up inside him. "She's just lost, like we all were once." "Lost or not, she's from the other side. You know how they feel about us." A voice interrupted, a burly man named Greg, his arms crossed, suspicion etched upon his face. Jack took a deep breath, emotions swelling within. "And what we feel about them doesn't define who we are. She has a right to be here as much as anyone else." Nara stayed quiet, her eyes wide, absorbing their hostility. Jack could feel the tension radiating from her, and it pained him to see her discomfort, a stark reminder of how the world could turn against those who were different. Before Jack could continue, Nara stepped out beside him, her voice trembling yet resolute. "I didn't choose this conflict. I'm just like you, wanting to go home." Her words hung in the air, charged with a poignant honesty. A ripple of silence passed through the crowd, the settlers clearly taken aback by her unexpected courage. Maya shot Jack a conflicted glance. It was the first time someone had heard her voice, a voice filled with uncertainty, yet laced with defiance. "Maybe she can show us something about her people," Maya suggested, her brow furrowing. "Maybe we can find common ground, instead of lining up for battle." It was a small thread of hope dangling in the thick atmosphere, and Jack seized upon it. "Exactly. Let's not let fear dictate our actions," he urged, willing the group to consider an alternative. As people began to converse amongst themselves, Jack turned towards Nara, who was staring down at the ground. "It'll be all right. Just give them a chance," he whispered, trying to convey his sincerity. The night wore on with hesitant conversations as settlers and Nara exchanged wary words. Jack felt anxiety roil in his stomach. Would they ever understand? Would Nara be perceived as an ally or a foe? Their bond was slowly forming amidst the uncertainty, like fragile strands of silk weaving together. Nara's courage awakened something fierce within him, a drive to protect not just her, but the possibility of coexistence. Perhaps love, he mused, could forge a path where animosity had ruled. As they stood side by side, under the watchful eyes of settlers still uncertain, Jack vowed to find a way to bridge their worlds. And amidst the clamor, an unexpected sense of belonging filled the space between them. The days that followed felt like a whirlwind for both Jack and Nara. Their alliance became the talk of Alicia, and despite initial resistance from certain settlers, curiosity began to blossom. Jack found solace in his growing attachment to Nara, who now embraced Alicia as a home in the most unconventional sense. Every evening, after the workday ended, Jack and Nara met under the sprawling tree canopy, where the stars glimmered like diamonds scattered across velvet. There, amid the soft rustle of leaves and the humming of unseen creatures, they learned more about each other's worlds. Jack discovered that Nara's people, the Jatulians, were inextricably tied to the rhythms of nature. Their existence was rooted in harmony, honing their ability to channel the planet's energies for sustenance. She spoke of her culture with passion, illustrating how they moved through the forests as one with the land, explaining their views on life, death, and love in a way that ignited a sense of wonder within him. "I never knew it was possible to feel so connected to everything around you," Jack admitted one evening as they lay back against the soft grass, staring at the sky. The bioluminescent flora would occasionally glow between them, casting an ethereal light upon their faces. Nara turned her gaze toward him, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "And what of your people? You push metal and build walls. Do you not feel the pulse of the earth?" He chuckled softly. "I think we've forgotten how. It's easy to lose sight of what truly matters when you're surrounded by technology." Her expression grew serious, and she shook her head gently. "You walk differently than us, but your heart, it speaks. I feel it. The two worlds are not so different." In that moment, their shoulders brushed, and an invisible thread sparked between them, something raw and undeniable. Jack's heartbeat quickened, echoing the pull he felt towards her. The distance that had once felt vast began to shrink. The barriers between their cultures seemed to dissolve under the weight of shared understanding. Days turned into nights filled with tentative intimacy, and as Jack showed Nara the human ways, expressive music, delicately crafted food, and laughter, they began dancing around the layers of their feelings. They explored the depths of connection. Nara even participated in Jack's clumsy attempts at fixing machinery, giggling at their shared mishaps. Her laughter rang out like a melody, a sound he found intoxicating. But with every moment of joy came a shadow of doubt. It loomed over them like a storm. Whispers of discontent breached Jack's ears as some settlers speculated about alliances and conspiracies. The peace between humans and Jatulians was delicate, fragile as glass. One night, as they sat beneath a blanket of stars, Jack found the courage to voice his concerns. "Nara, what if they never accept you? What if the conflict, it's bigger than us?" She turned to him, eyes glowing with that familiar strength. "It will take time, Jack, but if we stand together, they cannot ignore our bond. They cannot keep fighting if they see the truth in us." He searched her gaze for reassurance. "I want to believe in that. I want to believe in us." At the honesty of his words, Nara's heart raced, and she leaned closer, her hand grazing his arm. They lingered in that moment, their breaths mingling, the air heavy with unexpressed emotion. The silence between them felt both liberating and terrifying. Suddenly, instinct took over. Jack tilted his head, meeting her halfway, and their lips brushed softly, tentative, exploratory. A rush of warmth enveloped Jack, igniting every nerve ending. He had never known a kiss could feel like this, like an affirmation of everything he had ever hoped for. Nara's hand cupped his face gently, and with that one touch, a surge of energy passed between them, igniting a connection that was both visceral and tender. The kiss deepened, shifting into a fierce urgency, igniting a fire as they pressed closer against the soft grass beneath them. They were two worlds colliding, and against all odds, it felt right. But the heat of passion was suddenly punctuated by a distant rumble, a storm brewing at the edges of their new world. They pulled away, breathless and startled by the reality looming over them. The world outside felt more threatening than before, their bond now a target. "We have to be careful," Jack whispered, the gravity of their situation surging back in a wave. "This could make things worse." Nara nodded, her brows furrowed with worry. "We must stand united, not just with each other, but with both our peoples. They need to know, to see beyond fear." As they rose, both knowing their journey was far from over, Jack felt the weight of destiny upon them. Their hearts intertwined in ways they couldn't yet comprehend, their fates bound to the ancient and electric pulse of Jatul. And as they stepped back toward Alicia, hand in hand, Jack understood that love wasn't just a bridge between them. It was the key to uniting two worlds, once divided. The pace of life in Alicia began to quicken, overshadowed by the mounting discord simmering beneath the surface. For Jack and Nara, each day felt like a delicate thread stretched tighter, balancing between hope and desperation as the settlers' patience grew thin. The echoes of laughter and shared stories faded, replaced by whispers that curled through the community like smoke from a smoldering fire. Jack spent countless hours repairing machines and exploring ways to foster understanding between humans and Jatulians. With every sunset, he turned his gaze toward Nara, whose presence illuminated the workbench with her mesmerizing smile. Yet, despite each tender moment they shared, a storm was brewing. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting waves of orange and purple across the sky, Jack stepped outside to find the settlement gathered around a fire pit. The tension in the air was palpable. Laughter had turned into heated exchanges, and he caught glimpses of anxious faces, reflecting the uncertainty permeating the crowd. Greg stood at the center, his arms animated as he stirred up grievances. "We can't trust her. She may act like she's harmless, but we know their kind. They seek to undermine us, to see us crumble." His voice boomed, echoing amongst the settlers, who shifted uneasily. Jack's heart sank. He surreptitiously scanned the crowd, searching for Nara, his stomach twisting in anxiety. When he found her, she stood at the edge, wide-eyed and vulnerable, feeling the negativity surrounding her like a chill. "Jack!" he heard Maya call him over, her brow creased with concern. "You have to help. Greg's inciting fear. We need to show them Nara is safe." With resolve, Jack moved forward, his pulse quickening. "Greg, stop this. Nara has done nothing wrong. She is not our enemy." The gathered settlers shifted, uncertain murmurs rippling through them. "You defend an alien?" Greg shot back, disbelief etched into every line of his face. "You can't be serious, Jack." "Yes." Jack's voice rang out, filled with passion. "Nara isn't just an alien, she's a person. She's here to help, to show us that we can coexist." Greg's eyes darkened, and he stepped closer, projecting an unyielding demeanor that rattled Jack. "While you play with fantasies, we have real threats penetrating our walls. Look around you." Jack retorted, gesturing towards the settlers. "They are afraid because they don't understand. Fear will destroy us faster than anything else." The crowd murmured, tension thickening. Jack noticed Nara's expression shift from fear to a determined resolve. She stepped beside him, her luminous features shining brightly against the backdrop of fear. "I've come to learn from you, to share my world. Let me show you who I am," she implored, her voice steady. The murmurs intensified, a mix of curiosity and skepticism fueling the crowd, but it was clear that doubt still lingered in their hearts. Jack could see the wall of hostility around them, but he sensed a flicker of hope amid the uncertainty. "Please," Jack added softly, his eyes meeting Nara's, "give her the chance to show you what her people are like. We stand a better chance together than apart." The atmosphere grew heavy. The settlers stood divided, grappling with whether to embrace the unknown or to cling to their fears. But as Jack met Nara's gaze, he felt a surge of conviction. Their burgeoning connection, fraught with trials, had become a symbol of potential peace. Suddenly, a voice broke through the tension. "If it's a demonstration of trust you seek," Greg sneered, "then let's set the terms. If your precious alien can prove her worth, perhaps we will reconsider our stance." The crowd fell silent, weighing Greg's challenge. Jack sensed the precariousness of the situation, yet he felt Nara's hand gently squeeze his. She exuded calm where chaos threatened to reign. "If I am to prove my worth," Nara spoke, her voice steady, "I will show you my people's ways. We will share our strengths." "Then let's see what she's made of," Greg declared, an arrogant smirk tugging at his lips, a clear signal that a challenge was set forth. Nara turned to Jack, her gaze fierce yet vulnerable. "This is our chance," she whispered, the weight of that moment pressing on both of them. Jack nodded, resolve washing over him. "We'll face this together." As they walked away from the gathering, the storm inside Jack intensified. The eyes of Alicia were on them, and the challenge they faced felt like a boiling cauldron teetering on the edge of spilling over. It was in that moment, filled with equal parts hope and fear, that Jack realized their fates were now intertwined more than ever. Together, they would stand against the tumult, forging a path where love could triumph over division. The atmosphere in Alicia was electric after Greg's challenge. As the settlers dispersed from the fire pit, conversation sparked around the settlement, a heated mix of skepticism and curiosity. Jack felt the burdens of anticipation pressing down on him as he and Nara sat near the edge of the settlement, the bioluminescent flora casting a soft glow around them. "We have to prepare," Jack said, glancing at Nara. "If we're going to show them who you are, we need to make sure they see the truth." Nara nodded, her expressive eyes gleaming with determination. "I can demonstrate the ways my people connect with the planet. We can even share our healing practices. I've grown close to nature in ways that would surprise them." Jack contemplated the plan, envisioning how they could turn the tide in their favor. "We need a venue, a place that showcases both of our cultures, where the settlers can understand the beauty of your ways." As they brainstormed, a sense of urgency enveloped them, driving them to gather the necessary materials to design an event that would leave a lasting impact. They spent countless hours scouring the settlement for resources, all the while sharing bits and pieces of their lives, dreams, fears, and their hope for the future. Nara's laughter became a soothing melody against the backdrop of uncertain preparation. Together, they crafted displays of Jatulian energy, with pulsating lights illuminating the surroundings, while Jack shared elements of human engineering to create interactive stations. The merging of their worlds felt exhilarating, a symbol of hope shining in the midst of gathering clouds. As the sun rose over the horizon on the day of the demonstration, they felt an undercurrent of anticipation. Word had spread throughout Alicia, and settlers began to gather, curiosity clawing at the edges of their apprehension. Maya finally arrived, glancing at Jack and Nara with a mixture of support and uncertainty. "I hope this goes well," she said, her brow drawn in concern. "Greg isn't just a loud voice. He has followers who believe every word he says." "He's not our focus," Jack assured her, his determination solidified. "We will showcase what genuinely matters." Nara stood beside Jack, confidence radiating from her as she approached the makeshift stage they had built in the settlement center. Her heart raced, but she drew strength from the pulsating energy in the air, channeling the grace of her people. As the settlers gathered, Jack could see doubts writ large across their faces, but he also spotted Maya, who stood by them, her supportive stance slowly altering the narrative. "Everyone, please gather," Nara called out, her voice resonating with an ethereal quality that captured their attention. "Today, we invite you to witness who we are beyond fear." Jack watched as the crowd grew quiet, intrigued by her calm presence. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their pronouncement pressing down on his chest, yet hope surged within him. The demonstration began with Nara guiding them in a simple Jatulian ritual, a dance that activated the energies of nature around them. As she moved, the bioluminescent plants lit up, responding to her graceful movements. Settlers watched, captivated, as she weaved through the air, embodying the unity of her world. To accentuate the performance, Jack joined in, invoking the machinery he had carefully crafted to harmonize with her rhythm. As he turned dials and pressed buttons, lights danced along the edges of their makeshift stage, creating a dazzling spectacle. The settlers' expressions waned from skepticism to wonder as they witnessed the transient beauty of the fusion between human and Jatulian culture. Laughter broke out among the children, and adults softened, the narrative of fear temporarily suspended. But in the corner of his eye, Jack spotted Greg, lurking on the fringe of the crowd with a stormy expression. Anger played on his features, a stark contrast to the shifting emotions of the crowd. Jack's stomach churned. Despite their progress, he could sense Greg's brewing defiance, a threat lingering in the shadows. "I believe it is time for healing," Nara proclaimed, her voice soaring above the murmurs. "Our worlds have been estranged, but together, we can heal the wounds of the past." As she introduced the healing practices of her people, the settlers leaned in, consumed by the allure of possibility. She demonstrated the energy manipulation, cradling a delicate flower in her hands, encouraging the light to pulsate and grow. Jack watched with admiration and growing pride as Nara poured her essence into the flower. Yet, every moment felt tempered by the knowledge that a shadow loomed. Greg's defiance could ignite at any moment. Suddenly, as if summoned by Jack's unspoken fears, Greg pushed his way through the crowd, his voice booming. "This is absurd. Does anyone truly believe her trickery?" The crowd fell silent, tension coiling like a serpent ready to strike. "These dances won't save us. They're nothing but illusions to distract us, while their true intentions lie hidden. Nara isn't here to deceive." Maya stepped forward, her resolve firming. She came to unite, and we need to embrace that. Tension spiraled, and Jack could feel the crowd shifting uneasily, questioning their beliefs. But Nara stood strong, emboldened by their support. "Fear thrives in shadows. We are here to shed light upon the truth," she declared, her gaze unwavering. "It is our choice, not Greg's, to accept or reject," Jack added, his voice cutting through the storm. "This is a chance to forge our future, a chance to unify instead of divide." As eyes shifted back to Nara, an unexpected wave of energy ripped through the crowd. Curiosity ignited dialogues while fear began to wane, and they found unity in the shared moment of vulnerability. Jack released a breath he didn't know he was holding, heart racing with the realization that together, they would weather whatever tempests awaited them. As the performance continued, the ground beneath them felt alive, and Jack understood. This was a turning point. Amidst the gathering cheers, hope swelled like a wildfire, igniting the path toward an uncertain future. Together, Jack and Nara were challenging the status quo, standing as a testament to love's resilience, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The atmosphere in Alicia electric as Jack and Nara's demonstration captured more than just fleeting attention. It began to weave the threads of understanding among the settlers. Encouraged by the growing sense of camaraderie, Jack felt hope flicker brightly where despair had festered. As the celebration surged, Nara moved gracefully among the crowd, sharing her Jatolian rituals, vignettes of her culture infused with her energy. People marveled at her warmth, and laughter replaced suspicion as smiles began to blossom like flowers in spring. The earlier tension began to unravel, a palpable connection forging through their shared experiences. Yet, a storm still brewed within the settlement's boundaries. Jack noticed Greg's frustration fester, unwilling to relent. As the event commenced, he could almost sense the undertones of dissent bubbling beneath the surface. "Let's not lose this momentum," Jack whispered to Nara, his heart resolute. Together, they had created a turning point, but they needed to secure the bonds of trust they had formed within the community. "We can't let fear dictate this moment." Nara met his gaze, her blue eyes shimmering with determination. "Let us show them that unity breeds strength." Nara then summoned the crowd's attention one last time. "We have worked so diligently to demonstrate our connection. Allow me now to invite any who seek healing to step forward. Let us mend what has been broken." The settlers hesitated, glancing at one another, wary yet intrigued. Slowly, one brave soul stepped forward, a woman named Clara, who had long struggled with the burdens of distrust. "If you truly wish to show us, then I'm willing to try," she said, her voice shaky but sincere. With graciousness, Nara approached Clara, extending her hands gently. As she began to tap into the energies of the earth, the luminous flora surrounding them flickered in response, pulsing with life. Nara guided Clara through a healing process, showing her how to open her heart to the world around her. Gasps of wonder rippled through the crowd, and Jack could see the shift happening. The settlers were beginning to realize that their fears were rooted in ignorance. The stale air of hostility cracked, allowing glimpses of warmth and potential to leak through. Then, as the healing session continued, a force interrupted the fragile harmony. A figure emerged from the edge of the crowd. It was Greg, and his eyes were dark, resentment swirling within them like a tempest. He stood defiantly, arms crossed, unwilling to yield to what he saw as mere theatrics. "This is a distraction," Greg shouted, his voice cutting through the atmosphere like a knife. "They're trying to play on your feelings. Don't let them deceive you. They do not belong." Nara paused, her energy wavering for a moment. Anger and disbelief flickered in the eyes of the settlers as they turned toward Greg, yet Jack felt Nara's resolve strengthen beside him. "Greg," Jack called out, stepping forward, "why do you hold onto this fear? What good does it bring you?" "You naive fool," Greg yelled, shaking his head. "What you're seeing is nothing but a masquerade. These people survived a war, and the moment this place becomes weak, they will strike. Fear is what has caused the divide." Nara responded, a quiet strength underlying her words. "But healing is the path to unity." Jack's heart raced as he recognized that this was a critical moment. We've seen the beauty of coming together. We've shared our cultures. This is a choice we must make, fear or understanding. Ambivalence flickered across the crowd, shifting from uncertainty to contemplation. The settlers began to whisper among themselves, questioning their blindsided beliefs as they remembered the moments of connection they'd shared with Nara. "Give us a chance to show you what we can accomplish together," Nara implored, stepping toward the crowd, standing tall against Greg's hostility. "This is our opportunity to rewrite our stories, to craft a future grounded in unity." The crowd shifted, leaning towards Nara's words, and in that moment, they found common ground, a solid foundation to build upon. Greg, growing desperate, called out, "You'll regret this. You can't trust them." But Jack stepped forward, his own heart steady. "This isn't just about trust, it's about growth. They are not our enemies, and they will never be. Together, we can thrive in ways we couldn't alone." As the crowd murmured in agreement, Jack reached for Nara's hand, feeling the warmth of their connection buoying his courage. The air trembled with an electric sense of possibility, and hope surged anew. Finally, Clara broke through the tension, stepping past Greg. With tears glistening in her eyes, she said, "I am willing to learn. I want to see what this can be. We must stand together if we wish to flourish." Jack's heart soared as more voices joined Clara's, pledging their readiness to embrace understanding. One by one, the settlers began to move toward Nara, curiosity illuminated upon their faces. Stunned, Greg faltered, recognizing the tide turning rapidly against him. He watched helplessly as the community embraced Nara with open arms. In that defining moment, Jack felt the walls of animosity tremble, weaker with every heartfelt gesture. As night fell, the celebration erupted in exuberant camaraderie. Laughter filled the air, resonating joyfully as humans and Jatulians danced together under a blanket of stars. The pulse of unity hummed through the heart of Alicia, bridging the divides that had once seemed insurmountable. Jack and Nara stood amidst the embrace of their newfound family, exchanging glances filled with passion and love, a testament to their journey forward. They had faced the storms of doubt and emerged stronger, united in the understanding that love conquers fear. As the night wore on, Jack held Nara close, their hearts beating in sync. Together, they would weave the fabric of a shared future, marking the beginning of a new chapter where their worlds would flourish side by side. Looking up at the stars twinkling above, Jack understood that this was only the beginning. With Nara by his side, they would continue to build understanding, craft connections, and inspire others to traverse the delicate dance of acceptance. And in that moment, amongst the laughter and the shared joy, Jack knew they had arrived, not just to a place of unity, but to a home shared by all.